One man, 'cause I've shot every gun. Winchester, Seiko, Bruno, Remington, Colt, Light, Sterling, Smith and Wesson, Anfield, Armalite, Puckhead, Rico, Henry, Taurus, Luger, Browning, Weatherby, Caesar, Bentley, Kimber, BSA, shot a Savage, HK. I shot every gun, man. I've shot every gun, man. There isn't one I shot, man. 'Cause I've had so much fun, man. Well, I couldn't stop one man. 'Cause I've shot every gun. 79 mil 2 to 3, 38, 7, 44, 2 for 3, 22, 17, 3, 3, 75, 30, 32, 73, 45, 10 gauge, 12 gauge, 60 gauge, 20 gauge, 4, 10, paint, hole, tomato, shot hole. I shot every gun, man. I've shot every gun, man. There isn't one I shot, man. 'Cause I've had so much fun, man. Well, I couldn't stop one man. 'Cause I've shot every gun. Lever action, pump action, open action, stem all the full load on, no other combination, multi-barrel, double barrel, single barrel, muzzle load, lock breech, bell basement, knockable, lockable, minigun, dip gun, single action, double action, leaving gun, squad action. I've shot every gun, man. I've shot every gun, man. There isn't one I shot, man. 'Cause I've had so much fun, man. Well, I couldn't stop one man. 'Cause I've shot every gun. Bolter and Anschutz, Rocco, Lifton, Navy Arms, Oren, Marlon, Boyd, Style, Martini, Barrett, Beretta, Sports Cobras, Matt, Stevens, Lamb, Mossberg's, Gibbs, Springfield, Thompson, H, and I'll say, Halloween's out of grease gun. I've shot every gun, man. I've shot every gun, man. There isn't one I'd shot, man. 'Cause I've had so much fun, man. Couldn't stop one man. I've shot every gun. Yeah, well, I couldn't stop one man. 'Cause I've shot every gun. Shot this gun.
Just open that up, that's not going to look inside. That's ridiculous. You gotta love it.
The sons of liberty. Pay the price they're asking, boys. Always pay the tyrant's fee. Never give up the struggle, boys. Fight for the liberty tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. Stand for the rights of man, boys. Stand against all tyranny. Hang the lance of freedom, boys. High on the liberty tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. It will grow as we grow, boys. It will be as strong as we. We must cling to our faith, boys. Faith in the liberty tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty.
Join Mark and Don for Weapons Wednesday, where you'll learn how to use everything from your bare hands to your average AR-15.
The 12-gauge autoloader.
Sure.
The 45 long slide.
Yep.
With laser sighting.
You betcha.
The Uzi 9mm.
Yes, sir.
Phased plasma rifle in a 40-watt range.
What are you, crazy?
Wrong.
Okay, they'll talk about that too. So whatever question you have about whatever weapon you have, call Mark and Don on Weapons Wednesday. And remember, your mind is your first best weapon.
Now you can feel that squeaky clean sensation like none other with Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash. Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash is a unique natural formula not found in any other oral care products. With a gentle combination of zinc, folic acid, myrrh, and clove oil, Vitamer effectively whitens teeth, removes plaque, and freshens breath, and it does it naturally without any harmful chemicals. Visit us online at Vitamer.com. That's VITAMYR.com. Or call us today to place your order at 1-888-558-8482. That's 1-888-558-8482. Keep your teeth and gums healthy with Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash. Vitamer, nature's answer to healthy teeth and gums. And remember, it's all completely natural. Available at participating health food stores nationwide.
Liberty's Guardian, Guns and Ammunition, a family-owned business located in the heart of Ohio's hunting country. Let us help you find the right shotgun or rifle for you. Or if you're looking for a pistol or concealed carry, we have a nice selection of compact and subcompact pistols for that too. Check out our website at www.libertiesguardian.com. That website again is www.libertiesguardian.com. Go to the website and check out our selection today.
I had a dream the other night that, well, I didn't understand. A figure walked in through the mist with a flintlock in his hand. His clothes were torn and dirty as he stood there by my bed. He took off his three-cornered hat, and speaking low to me, he said, "We fought a revolution to secure our liberty. We wrote the Constitution as a shield from tyranny. For future generations, this legacy we gave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. The freedoms we secured for you, we'd hoped you'd always keep. But tyrants labored endlessly while your parents were asleep. Your freedom's gone, your courage lost. You're no more than a slave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. You buy permits to travel and permits to own a gun, permits to start a business or to build a place for one. On land that you believe you own, you pay a yearly rent, although you have no voice in saying how the money's spent. Your children must attend a school that doesn't educate, and your Christian values can't be taught according to the state. You read about the current news in a regulated press, and you pay a tax you do not owe to please the IRS. Your money is no longer made of silver nor of gold. You trade your wealth for paper so your life can be controlled. You pay for crimes that make our nation turn from God and shame. You've taken Satan's number. You've traded in your name. You've given government control to those who do you harm so they could burn down churches and seize the family farm and keep our country deep in debt, put men of God in jail, harass your fellow countrymen while corrupted courts prevail. Your public servants don't uphold the solemn oaths they've sworn, and your daughters visit doctors so their children won't be born. Your leaders send artillery and guns to foreign shores and send your sons to slaughter fighting other people's wars. Can you regain the freedoms for which we fought and died? Or don't you have the courage or the faith to stand with pride? And are there no more values for which you'll fight to save? Or do you wish your children to live in fear and be a slave? O sons of the Republic, arise, take a stand, defend the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. Preserve our great republic and each God-given right. And pray to God to keep the torch of freedom burning bright. As I awoke, he'd vanished in the mist from whence he came. His words were true. We are not free, but we have ourselves to blame. For even now as tyrants trample each God-given right, we only watch and tremble, too afraid to stand and fight. If he stood by your bedside in a dream while you were asleep and wondered what remains of the freedoms he'd fought to keep, what would be your answer if he called out from the grave? Is this still the land of the free and home of the brave? God bless you, and God bless this republic.
If only my feet were just a little smaller, I would buy even more of those boots. More on that in a minute. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first hour of the afternoon intelligence report. I'm Art Kortke. One day closer to victory for all of our brothers and sisters, both on and behind the lines in occupied territories, west, south, east, and southeast. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to us on Libertytreeradio.4mg.com. We're also on AM and FM micro stations, AM and FM conventional stations, and CB base stations, along with Ultra Net Hallmark and Golden Spike Technologies, east and west of the Mississippi, along with Alaska. Good afternoon to all of our friends out there in lower 49, which includes the great state of Jefferson, and CONUS, which is the rest of the 48 continental, along with the outlying 2 states, the 2, well, more than a few territories, and the clock. It is 5:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The bottom of the state of Michigan, we've had a perfect day today. You couldn't ask for a nicer summer day. Not too hot, not too cold, and a nice breeze. So get out there and enjoy it while you can. Ignore the idiot corona beer virus parasites. They're horrible. All these dog muzzle types are just really, God. Whole bunch of spineless cowards. But anyway, it is Thursday. It is the 25th of June. It is the 12th year of open Fabian Socialist and Soviet Socialist occupation of America with a K. 2012 Old Earth calendar. No, forgive me. Oh, God. 2020. Yeah, it would be 8 years earlier when we were still telling you what to do or trying to get you to move. And a lot of people scratched their arse until the year 2020, and now everybody's got a fire under their hind end again. What a surprise. Would never have thought that. Kind of helps when they're burning down your towns and saying they're going to come out and kill you in your home in a rural area. It's really, it should get you motivated to get ready to put somebody right out of their boots. More on that in a minute. It is 2020, Old Earth calendar. It is 2020, year of the Dance of Swords. The war has begun. Good. That's what's needed. Anyway, before we go any farther, I mentioned boots, and there's a reason. Maelstrom, military combat side zip boots. If you're out there, it looks like they're, again, Botash, that's B-O-T-A-C-H, Botash.com, Botash.com, B-O-T-A-C-H.com. Go there, and there's going to be a pop-up on the left side of the screen. Typically, now, I've seen different formats. God, I don't know how they do this with the, who knows what the algorithms are with these goofy systems, because looking at another person's computer today in town, totally contrary to the way anything I'm looking at here. But the basics are still there, so that's fine. Whatever it is, mine comes up pretty clean. So you have a pop-up, and they are $15 a pair for a Coyote Brown headed towards tan combat boot. These are not a tropical boot. They do not have vents, so these will be good into the fall and could be used in the winter. You're just going to obviously have to do the old overlap and overlayer with rubber boots like we used to do in the military. get a little more thermal protection and moisture protection, but they are a very serviceable boot, and for $15, it's cheaper or the same price you're going to pay for a really crappy pair of Walmart tennis shoes. The difference, you're getting a better piece of footwear for $15. So if you're out there and you're listening, I will say this: I think the 12s are gone. Just to let you know, the 11s are certainly gone. They were gone early, in fact, very, very quickly. But size 10, size 9.5, size 8, or forgive me, size 10, 9.5, 9. They do have some 8.5s, which if you're an 8, you can use that 8.5. There's only 52 of those left. There's a few hundred of the others. Size 8, gone, and size 7 is gone. So what really are the average sizes, which means this is a hell of a buy for any of you out there listening. If you're asking, well, okay, I'm outfitting right now, how many pairs of boots should I have? At least 3 pairs of boots. At least 3 pairs of any kind. I don't care what you believe in. I don't care what your religious boot philosophy is. Congratulations. Run with it. But for $15 a pair, you can't beat these, okay? And they do have size 9, 9.5, and 10 for sure. So that means you guys that are in the average middle size, upper size range, your boots are waiting for you. And $15 a pair, how many pairs should you get? 3. If you don't have any and you're listening right now, this is the best way. For less than you'll pay for a pair of boots, you can have 3 of these pairs of boots right away. You see something else that's a really good buy? Run with those puppies. But for $15 a pair, this means you don't beat down your shoes or your boots nonstop day after day. You switch out from one pair of boots to the next while you can. I carry a spare in my backpack, but more on that in a minute. Actually, what I use is the old Vietnam throw, China Sport or Korean Sport jungle boots. They're easy. Of course, the other one I've used in another pack, I got some cheapy, literally Walmart-ish type from Dollar General. Absolute throwaway tennis shoes. They wouldn't last very long, but for another pair of footwear, if something happens, for whatever reason I recover or get back to the backpack and I had a problem where something happened with my footwear, I'd switch out to those, because you ever try to go cross country across gravel, sharp rock, or areas that are, irregular, you better put something between your foot and whatever. And it doesn't make a difference what it is, even if you went out because you're poor. Okay, here's the thing. Go over to Walmart. At least get a pair of those shower flip-flops that cost 88 cents. Now, I haven't seen them for 88 cents over there, and I've been in there a long time again, so I told you I avoid Walmart. But if you go to Walmart, grab those 88-cent pair of flip-flops and put a pair in each backpack you got. Now, there's two reasons for this. Number one, you're a militia, and you should be prepared. They're lightweight. They're another way, if you got to dry your boots out, you're trying to clean something up, you got to have somebody do repair. You got something to put on your foot while your spare tire is being fixed, or I should say while your primary tire is being fixed. But here's another issue, okay? Everybody always talks about how I'm going to be Johnny Jet Jock, I'm going to be Special Forces, I'm going to be fill in the blank. And you rescue a whole bunch of people that are prisoners. Now, I'm going to tell you a little thing you haven't been taught too much about, probably POWs. One of the best ways to keep POWs under control is take their footwear. Now, there's 2 things you should have ready. A, you should always have a handful of about 20 or so zip ties. Not the big ones, not the POW type zip ties for making prisoners. Smaller zip ties, any flavor, no-name brand, cheap, have them in a bundle, 20 at least, if not more. Why? Well, one of the first rules is when you take a POW in the earliest stages is you try to immobilize them while still being able to let them move on their own motion so you don't have to carry anybody around. And so you take the guy's boot laces. That's the most common trick. In fact, you take the boot lace, use the boot lace to tie the guy's hands, tie his wrists. Yes, it's a tight binder. Yep, it bites. That's the whole idea. The idea, if they are deciding to take prisoners, it's going to be for interrogation and torture later. They want to be able to move quickly. So here's 2 things. If you ever try to run around in floppy combat boots, it doesn't work very well. That's why I'm telling you, if you've got a bunch of POWs, you come across a position, you destroy or exterminate, execute the guards that just took your people. Now you've got a bunch of people there stand there. Well, there's 2 things. You got to figure out how to get them to move faster. Well, guess what? Those zip ties, put one right in the middle of the tie point from one side to the other and lock the boot into place. put one on the top. That way it can't flop around off the top of the leg. You do that with each boot, as many people as you can. You run out of that, guess what? Plastic bags. Take a piece of plastic bag, thread it through. If you're a POW and you escape, same thing. You got to find something to make sure you start picking up speed. Way to do that, anything like a plastic bag, even a piece of cloth, piece of rag. You can push through the eyelet and you can bind the boot together. It means you can start moving with it. But for those of you who are recovering personnel, a little bundle of those zip ties goes a long way. And if everybody's carrying some, you're going to have enough for how many people show that you find in a truckload or maybe a little compound or whatever. If they're still alive, if they haven't already been executed by the communists, because it's most common that they will be murdered. Okay, so be prepared for that. You won't need the zip ties if they're already corpses. However, most important here again, too, is another reason to carry spare weapons. Two guys shooting is better than one. A handgun. Everybody, there's a debate for years. I want to address this. And this is the government gun control crap, always. Well, you don't need a handgun if you're infantry. You don't need a handgun. They used to pump that for years. Well, you know what? My question was, okay, it is kind of nice to have a backup. And since there are so many inexpensive firearms that are actually quite reasonable, not all that heavy, and don't take up that much space, why would I not want a handgun? Oh, that's evil and bad. So it was the anti-gun thing being pushed over into military sphere. It's something they've done on and off. They'll do it again. It's only a matter of time before the Nimrods, especially the panty waste we have in our government right now, well, for themselves, anything goes, and they can have all your property when they steal it, and they go door to door for the guns or whatever. But otherwise, remember, conditioning for the new plebes coming in is that, well, guns are bad, guns are evil, but you can have this gun, but only as under approval, and otherwise, you know, oh, handguns are caca. Blah, 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 blah. So we've seen this all before, so again, it's not going to be a surprise. However, if you got two people standing there, you hand the other person a handgun, now you've got the ability to actually overwatch each other. No, you don't take the pistol, turn it, and go bang, 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 empty. Okay, idiot. Well, obviously you're not getting the next magazine or the gun. Give it back. The idea here is sustained, longer cyclic rate of fire, so that the process of being able to cover and withdraw or move through an area can take place as a team. If you have 10 people with pistols and you've got your main rifle, and you have 10 POWs that you have retrieved and they are fighters, then you've now got 20 people with guns. Kind of handy. Now, again, you don't need them even to be blasting away constantly, but it is kind of nice to have them in the right place at the right time to, provide a little extra support, watch your back. In other words, each one could be a parasite to a rifleman and be the second set of eyes around the peripheral and to the rear. Makes a big difference. Okay, so just a little heads up on that one. Another thing here real quick, since we're on BOTAC, we mentioned the boots. Everybody's been talking about, can we find armor for a reasonable price? Now, these are just plate carriers again, and I talked about plate carriers yesterday quite extensively. Thank you for your confidence. A lot of people went in and cleared out the material that we mentioned on the air. Good. That means it's hopefully in our people's hands. One of the interesting things about some of the stuff that's out there is like this one right here, Battle Steel 3A Emergency Ballistic Armor Package. I was just telling somebody about this the other day. $99.95, 4-pound combat weight. Battle Steel Armor, that's the brand. Battle Steel EBAP. This is a backpack. This is really a cool idea. I think it's one of the neatest ideas that you can run into right now. And remember, if you're carrying a backpack with body armor, okay, and somebody does take a plug at you or whatever, then guess what? You have the ability to, move away, and while you might still get tagged in the arse, okay, you don't have the armor down there. 2 panels of armor to your rear offers a whole lot of protection. 3A, I don't care if it's 4A rifle plates or 3A. When you got 2 of them stacked on top of the other, you've upgraded dramatically. Okay, just something to think about. But what's neat about this is, again, the price here for $100. This is brand new armor. It does not have side wraparound. This is simply front back plate, which I've talked about. That's great. Any armor is better than no armor. This type of plate system over top of the other stuff, the soft armor we're talking about, though, depending on how lightweight the carrier you can find, the thinner the carrier, the less weight, obviously, is the next tier before you put your tactical gear on if you're not doing something with molly gear hooked up on the carrier plates or whatever, okay? but that soft armor goes underneath, and there are a variety of options available. So for, as a matter of fact, hold on here. Yeah, okay, so the difference is they've got 10 by 12 plates for $99.95, that's $100. And they've got 11 by 14 plates for $125. So that's the variation. This is right on the front page of Botash.com, 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 Botash.com. In fact, on the front page, you got a couple of the others. Scroll down. It actually mixes up, so every once in a while it jumbles around. That's the only thing about these front pages. They try to make it interesting, so maybe it attracts your attention, you buy something else. That's how it works. That's why they're doing it. The Maelstrom Military Combat side zip boots are $15. Battle Steel Level 4 10 by 12 ballistic plate set, $99.98. Take a look at it, see what's there. Botash has usually got some kind of deal on body armor. Find out what they have, see if it meets, float your boat, fits your needs, and go from there. You guys are going to make personal choices with some of this. Now, I will point something else out. They do have a nice deal here. Rayovac RL123 3-volt lithium batteries, 100-count pack for $130. That's $129.98. I'll throw 2 pennies in and tell you it's $130. But it is a block box of night vision and special light power source batteries. They're Rayovac RL123. You recognize the 123 battery? 3-volt lithium batteries, 100 pack, $130. And that's also over at Botash. So Botash has got some pretty good deals, and go through their clearances and closeouts and sales and the special gimmick. There's always something that they have. In fact, there's nothing in their Surefire sale. I had to look because it's like, well, there's nothing there. Oh, darn. But they're selling stuff, so they don't need to worry about that.
Hey, Mark?
We got a caller. Who do we have?
Yeah, it's Rob on the East Coast. Hey, I ordered a pair of those boots. They said 5 to 10 days. Today was day 10. Still haven't gotten them, so I guess they're a little sluggish getting them out. And really, by the time, which is still a good price. With shipping, they're $30.
Well, actually, their shipping is $30 with shipping?
No, with shipping. With shipping, including shipping and the price of the boot, they're $30. Which is still, if it's a decent boot, $30 is cheap.
Right. As a matter of fact, I didn't look to see what the shipping was with different sites. A couple of our people already got them, and I didn't really ask what the shipping cost was. So that's the one part closing up the deal on these. If they have a base price, in other words, sometimes they have up to $150, or sometimes it's unlimited. Anything over a certain amount, it's $10 no matter what. Remember, like 2 or 3 of the other companies have a flat rate. So the more you buy, the less the shipping cost per item is what it comes down to. Obviously, do the math.
But they're a little bit sluggish getting things out.
I would say that we probably. I think we swamped them. I mean, we ate up air. We mentioned them on the air. I mean, granted, that's what's happened. They acknowledged that they were kind of moving them, but we've gone through 50% plus of the inventory they originally had, which was thousands of boots. So that's probably, again, I don't know how many people they got working together. And the company's not really super big, but they're big enough they should be able to handle the workload. But,
well, they got to deal with the pandemic, too, right?
Plus, yeah, and the other thing is they do guns, and they do all kinds of other cool stuff. So the problem they got is drums, any type of weapons technology, it's flying out the door. I know that. That's what's really eating everybody's time up is also, a lot of people have most of what they need, but they're still dotting the I and crossing the T, like we've been saying on the air here for years. There's a lot of people, there's always one more thing. I just guess I better bite the bullet, pardon the pun, and pick up, ammo, mags, whatever it is. The thing is that they're still at the best price, like I said, on the planet for a pair of boots. And if you look for the same brand of boot, just go do a search. Nobody has them for the price. So they are the best price in town right now for a pair of combat boots of any kind, to be quite honest. There's a couple of the companies, militaryclothing.com, 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 that's one. and military gear. We've mentioned them before. However, once you go over there, you're going to see a sticker shock. The regular prices are for the mill spec, mill contractor stuff is not where Mark normally sends everybody. However, they do have some good sale items, but you got to cherry pick because some of the sale items are still twice, 3 times, or 5 times that somebody would normally, expect to pay. I mean, because we've been looking for the goodies. Well, I try to find the bargain stuff that makes sense where you're still getting a good quality product. The big thing here is that they do have boots, though, and shoes, and they do the same thing. When they get to the end of a run, they want to get those extras out of the way because that's just taking up space, and they know that if they don't move them fast, they're not going to get them off the shelf, and they'll just collect dust. So, and they need a space for the next batch coming in. And I think that's with Botash. I think that's what's going on here. They've got the next maybe contract run coming in. Boots take up a lot of space, and once you get to a certain point, you know what your math is, and I think they already figured that out. So. Anyway, anything else? Go ahead, jump in there, please. Okay, very good.
Don't forget to mention food again.
Well, food? Well, buy more food. Well, buy more food, obviously. Okay, one thing they don't have is food over there. Not that I've seen. I mean, somebody had a deal on quote-unquote, what would they call them? What's the term they're using? Somebody made up another term for the municipal MRE pouches. Municipal. I've never seen that before, but what those are, like civil defense type meal packs. The problem is that you're looking at $100, $120, $130 a case for what are basically a thinned-out MRE system. There's no MREs out there in any good price range that I've seen. You're better off, like I said, I normally wouldn't say this, but I'm going to tell you right now, for what you're paying for one pouch of the retort pouch commercial stuff, guys, you can go to Dollar Tree and buy 4 cans for, for $5, you're going to get 1 pouch, which only has 11 or 12 ounces in it. You can go over to Dollar Tree right now and get American canned goods in meals, anywhere from 11.5 ounces to 15 ounces, and you can get 5 of them for the price of 1 pouch. Let me tell you which one I'm buying right now. If you're listening to me and you were like a new person coming in, yeah, if you can find a deal on pouches in your area, some of our listeners actually have been able to do that because certain places have the stuff. If you see retort pouches, take advantage, but beware because, again, if I can get more food for $1, you need to be thinking more about more food for $1. Canned goods work just fine, okay?
The only difference is it's a hard retort instead of a soft one, right?
Exactly, yeah, and in that respect, there's a wide variety of stuff available. Hell, they even had boiled peanuts up here in the can, in the 15-ounce can. I got some of them. One's in barbecue, and the other one is salt and vinegar boiled peanuts. And it's like, sure. You know why? It's a change-up. It's basically, peanuts are a bean. We call them peanuts, but they're beans. They're a legume. And I was thinking about this the other day, just another thing about food. If we get into a war, you can kiss peanut butter goodbye. Anybody, there's certain things you probably just would take for granted because it's been like a staple amongst us for a long time. But if we get into a conflict here in the United States and it goes the rest of the way, which it is, it's heading that way, guys, you grew up with peanut butter, but the next generation won't. You understand that? Peanuts are going to disappear from the inventory. You're not going to see production. We're the dominant producer of peanuts in the world. The United States is. Okay, we are where basically the interest and idea came from. Other countries do produce a limited crop. But let me point out, for instance, peanut butter. The only way Europeans knew about peanut butter is because of the U.S., GI occupation after World War II. And that's the only way that, because coming out of the PX, the commissary guys that buy peanut butter and they, people, would taste it and try it. Hazelnut butter is in Europe. They have that. But peanuts didn't exist and peanut butter did not exist. Now, neither creamy or chunky or anything. They didn't know what the hell it was. They had no background with it. And today it's actually out there, but still it's more exotic in Europe than, say, you would find in the United States. But I was thinking, I made a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with some of Nancy's really great homemade grape jelly. Yum, 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 yum. And I was just thinking again, you know what? Whatever peanut butter you get when this starts, after this starts, it won't be any different from coffee. Peanut butter that you guys all were raised with, the kids that come up, that are growing up in this war as this develops, and in this country as the battlefield develops, there are certain foodstuffs that just are not going to be out there. They're just not going to be available. The crops aren't going to be put in. The crops aren't going to come out of the field. The product isn't going to be available. And peanut butter is one of them. Now, I bring this up because a lot of guys have been writing up, like survival foods. And peanut butter is really a good choice. If you were like right now, it was one of those many things that not everybody would think about. But, grabbing cartloads of peanut butter out of the store and taking them home would be a good idea because it is a good foodstuff in that respect. And it is filling, okay? And there's a lot of things you can do with it. But if all you have is any kind of pasty white bread or dense flour bread that you make up at home, whatever you have, throwing some peanut butter on there, and just like I said, a dab of homemade jelly or anything you got that's a contrast flavor changes up your food, changes up your diet. But you're still getting good nutrition. You've got proteins coming in, carbs coming in, the whole 9 yards, and you've got a good mix. Body's going to be a little happier for that. You're not going into, shallow hell / thin as a rail as quickly. But that's just something to take into consideration. Peanut butter would be gone probably within the first year of this war. I doubt we wouldn't see the next season. Production would be minimal, and what production was out there, well, look what happens around the cities and all the different areas where you have people ripping stuff off right now. We got somebody talking in the background. There we go. Okay, very good. Thank you. So, again, for everybody, peanut butter, it's one of those things nobody really, it's like second nature. Oh, there'll always be peanut butter there. No, there won't. That'll be gone. Coffee is another one. I recommend, and I will say this again, Dollar Tree, they don't advertise with us, you might notice. But I mention certain places because you can all find them. That's the only reason I mention them. It's easy for, and you may have a variation on that, on something laying in your area. If you find a distressed food store, that would really be great. If you've got one that does truck distressed cargo, guys, we have one that used to be up towards Saginaw. I don't know if it's still operational, but you used to be able to buy foodstuff, especially pouches and packs, for 10 cents, 25 cents. It'd normally be $1, $2, $3, whatever. Only you're talking pennies. Now, at Dollar Tree, they have the hazelnut, French vanilla, and regular roast coffee in the 8-ounce pouches. Now, they also have them in the 6 or 7, whatever it is, and they've changed, and needless to say, we know they're going to get smaller pouch-wise. But there's an advantage in these. They're the retort pouch. You take those, and you save up your old coffee cans, the big ones. If anybody's tossing them out, I collect every one of mine get. You take those pouches and put them into the larger, taller, real steel cans, and you've got armor protection for the pouches, but you have individual palletized and pre-measured coffee in the pouches in the can. What's the advantage? Trade. People are going to be worried about consistent measures, and one of the things that's really important is if you got something you can pull out that there is no contest. I know exactly what the product is. I know exactly what the weight is. I'm not skimming you. You're not skimming me. That is a big plus when it comes to being able to trade with people, okay? The other thing is, if you're using it because you just want coffee, you only open a percentage of the storage that you have, a small percentage. All the rest has an indefinite package/storage life because it's still sealed up in the vacuum pack where it should be, okay?
And it's another form of exchange, really.
Right, it's currency. It's money. In fact, when they try to do the cashless society thing, a lot of people are going to have to switch over to the barter system, in phase 1. We'll be shooting them probably almost as quickly, and then we won't worry about it. We'll be back to our money supply and piss on them. We'll be using our own money. Everybody, we need to be ready to do that. It's something that needs to be done. We've talked about it for years. You all better be thinking about what metals and measures, okay? The neat thing about the packages, again, it's not too much, so you're willing to trade 6 or 8 ounces of coffee. And remember, when you do trade, you also mix things up. Okay, I'll tell you what, I'll throw in I want that magazine you got. I'll give you a pouch of coffee. And how about 2 cheese whizzes? Here, I got 2 of the, personal cheese packs. They sell those at Dollar Tree. Well, actually, it's funny because they're not as big, but considering what the price of MRE cheese is right now, go look at the prices on this stuff. It's crazy. It's come full circle to where Dollar Tree's cheaper. Okay, that's where it wasn't before. Repeat, caller, go ahead.
Just imagine, you could, for a small change, you could use ketchup and mustard packs, like from Mickey D's, for making change.
Right. One of the other things here, too, I got to remind everybody, there's some really good buys at Dollar Tree, especially for ration packs. They've got the Australian peaches that have been coming in, Australian peaches, in the large peach can, the large fruit can, guys. And they have them sliced or they have them in halves. And for the price, it's $1 no matter what, $1 per can. Peaches and pears. Pears were the first in canned goods because natural pectin. In canned goods, it was the big thing. It was a big, big, big treat to be in the middle of winter, out in the middle of BFE, and you could open a can, and you've got this syrupy, sugary, fruity, flavored, food item that really made the difference between that and the oatmeal you had for the last 18 days. Okay? It's a treat. Every Sunday, we're going to open a can of fruit. That's how it used to be. So consider that $1 a can for something like that. It's priceless. Again, mix up. Take example. Here's a little experiment. Go over to Dollar Tree. Go over into the canned good aisle. Get a couple of those spam, no-name brand spam versions. American can, by the way. Grab $20 worth of the canned goods and maybe a couple of the bags. One bag of beans, one bag of rice. How much food do you get for $20? It's amazing how much you can get for $20. Yeah, you're eating better than 72 hours worth of food there. See, that's another thing. Everybody talks about a 72-hour kit. That's a hell of a lot more than 72 hours worth of food. Go ahead, caller. Who do we have?
Mark. This is Fluffy. It just occurred to me. I saw that old Kevin Costner movie, Waterworld, and on the oil tanker that was being used by a lot of people to live in, the boss man had crates of Spam. And of course, it's still good. That never goes bad.
Right. Spam. It's good forever. Well, if you ask any of the Koreans, they tell you that's true. Any place where our troops have been in the last, 70 years? Of course, you don't see now the troops carrying Spam at this point. Now we just have MRE pouches. But why you see it, if you go to an Asian food store, you will find Spam in every Asian food store. You don't think so? Go look. You will find canned Spam, regular real Spam, on the shelf. Why? Because it was integrated into their cuisine. Because it's one of those things we had available. And guess what? They had a chance to, they had a chance to partake of, and it was better than starving, or again, rice and a plum in the middle every day, for a meal, for what meal you had, if you had rice and if you had the plum. So now all of a sudden you can sliver up Spam or chip up Spam and put little chunks in it and then throw that in off to the side with some kimchi and whatever else you had to make a more diverse meal. Well, that was eating like a king. That Spam was like steak.
I've been in a couple of their stores, and they do have it.
Yeah. The other thing I have not checked, somebody was asking about this, I have not looked at the rice prices for the Asian round ball rice recently, 25-pound bag, 20-pound bag, 18-pound bag. So you might want to spot check that, and I recommend, again, doing a mix of rices. As I pointed out, Dollar Tree, almost everything is South American right now, which is okay. The white rice seems to be coming from Brazil, and also some of it from Argentina. The brown rice, which they didn't have before, they've got brown rice, and that's coming in from Uruguay. So that's one of those things where, again, we've got some better quality product stuff. The price is right, and you might want to take into consideration that, again, $1 for 2 pounds of food, guys. 50 cents a pound, can't beat it, and I wouldn't worry too much about stuff. If you said China, I'd worry about it, but the South Americans don't make plastic rice. Okay, the South Americans what we're doing is we're scouring their crop production. That's not going to last forever, and they're not going to do it forever either. But right now, in order for them to have a product on the shelf, they're scouring South America. They ain't going to go to Africa. There ain't nothing there worth having. There's not enough of it. But in South America, they're comparable agricultural production to the United States, if not superior right now, because in terms of mass. So it's just something to take into consideration. You're getting a good product for the price. Another thing here real quick, fire starters and fire. Fire starters and fire. If you're listening right now, another thing everybody goes, what should we be buying? Fire starters and fire. Matches. More Bic lighters. No-name brand's fine. Doesn't need to be name brand. No-name brand lighters. Can them, just like I was talking about earlier. Ziploc bag them and can them. Ziploc bag them and can them. Ziploc bag and then put them in a can. Everything should be triple sealed if at all possible. If it's in the original package, you can leave it, take the extra cardboard off. Of course, we usually would save that and burn it if I was in the field. There's another way just to have fire starter ready to go. But what you want to do is minimize the volume, but also don't compromise the protection. And put it inside a Ziploc bag, put that inside a can, put that on the shelf that way, and disperse. Another thing, if you are putting any food packs together, guys, it's kind of hard right now because there's not many of the resale stores, but if I go to a yard sale, somebody's got like 20 or 30 or 15 can openers at the yard sale, and they're 25 cents a piece, I buy every one of them. What do I do with them? Well, the kitty litter buckets full of canned goods, each one gets a can opener. Used to be it'd be P38s. The problem is there's no real great price on P38s out there, little military can openers. But it's good to have these other types anyway because a lot of them have a corkscrew. If they're the old, skeletized ones, they got a corkscrew, they've got a bottle cap opener, and they've got a regular bayonet type can opener. Others are the turnkey type and the older style, and any of the older ones are better than most every China sport piece of garbage they're building right now. Even if it's tired, it's still better than one brand new out of the box. So you watch for anything like that. Another thing, church keys. You guys all know what a church key is, right? That's a can opener, bottle opener. One it'll have a bayonet type of pyramid type spike for opening up the can that way. Remember, used to be cans didn't have quick tabs. The other end typically has a bottle flip, and there's a couple different styles. Grab every one of those you can. If you got to open a can the hard way, here's what you do: you take that can opener, or not can opener, but that can cutter for doing the the pour point. Just keep going around the outside of the can. You'll get it open. Just keep stippling away. It's going to take you a little longer, but really not that much. You'll get really good at it. I got really good at it. And a church key is real easy to carry around. It's nothing you can tag and bag in 100 different places, but cache wherever you can. These are items that are hard to make and hard to replace, to be quite honest. Go ahead, caller, jump in there.
Question. There's a Army Navy surplus store up the road from me, and it's not convenient, but when I go to Hattiesburg, I go by there. Last time I was there, they had two different sizes of P-38, small and large. Wouldn't it be just as well to always get the large?
Well, it depends on who made them. Now, number one, the larger ones, a lot of those are China copies of the Canadian P-38 or version of a P-38 on steroids. The Canadians made one that was slightly larger, a little easier to handle because you got more surface space, but it does take up more room. Whereas the P-38 that we made, they were small. You used to get when you got the C rations, there were supposed to be, at one point they had 24 to a case of 12 rations. Then they got it down to 12. It depended on what era the things were packed, and I've seen them in all variations. Problem, the supply sergeants usually stole them before the rations got out to the field and we ever saw them. They knew to open them up and grab the P-38s, and they just sell them out the back door. Or they'd take them home, or they'd sell them to us. You know what I mean? In other words, they're supposed to be free, but oh yeah, I got some. Yeah, give me a quarter. It's like, oh great, okay, well I do need one, so okay, there you go. But the thing is that the China Sport ones, they're not as tough. They're stamped. They look the same, but the case hardening, how they're actually tempered and how they were struck when they were forged, to what energy was applied, I don't know. And sometimes they're a little bendable, but they do work. Most of them work. I've tried all the variations in the China Sport models, and they do work. It's just don't press them too hard, or fiddle fart with them, or try to use them for, say, screwdrivers. Don't try to use them for prying, things. Keep them as can openers and just preserve it the way it is for going working your way around the outside of the lid until it's open. Don't use it for anything else. Go ahead, caller, jump in there.
Mark, I sell and have sold the Shelby Company, U.S. military can openers, the smaller P-38 and the larger John Wayne or the P-51 for years. And generally, in new can openers, military, those are gonna say Shelby on there. Shelby CO, Shelby Company.
Uh-huh. Well, I've noticed that, for instance, Sportsman's Guide had, and I pointed this out, they had the copies, and they had a real military, and the real military were cheaper for a bit, and then they dried up because everybody grabbed them, and then the copies disappeared. So anybody who's still got a good quantity, like 100 count, 500 count, everybody should buy more. As far as I'm concerned, you're going to run it. Everybody's not going to have a can opener. It's just that simple. You would think it'd be the other way around, but no, it's the last thing everybody thinks about.
Right.
It really is. That's why. How many times I got a P-38? My original one I've carried for decades is on my dog tag ring. You know how many other people had to use that?
Right.
It's like when you're done with it, can I use it? It's like, where's yours? Well, I didn't think I need it. Okay.
Yeah, and they're also real good for cleaning up your wounds. It's a can opener and it's something you want to have kind of sanitary, but just a short bit in the fire or heat will take care of that. But for when we take those bandages off and to abrade our wounds, especially that larger P-51, and for a light pry bar, etc. The P-38
they work really. They really work well at opening paint cans. Even, I mean, that's the thing. They're that tough. So the real ones,
the P-51s. The larger ones. Now the little small P-38, they're tough, but man, I've seen some paint cans that were pretty wicked, and I'm not sure if I would want a chance on some of the paint cans that I've gone up against. Now, when the paint cans are new, that's one thing. But when you've used that, when you've taken that lid on and off, and that little bit of paint gets on there all around that lid and kind of starts to harden and dry up, they can get pretty stiff.
Makes a sticky bug.
Yeah, man. But the real deal, if we run across them, any new ones, that's gonna have Shelby Company on there. SHELBYCO. Over.
Got my curiosity up, so I went over to Sportsman's Guide. I just wanted to see. Let's see, P-38. Let's see what they have. Can opener, if they have any. And in fact, I'd be curious because again, I've searched. All right, military style. Oh, they've got German military.
Yeah.
They've got the German military ones in stock.
What are they asking on those?
Well, it's not 100 count. It's 20 for $13.49, which isn't bad, but that's.
Dude, that's an incredibly good deal.
Yeah. So German, they just got them in. In fact, they weren't there the other day because I was looking for them. They have German military style P-38 can openers, 20-pack. They're used, not new, used. So they got them back from the troops.
Well, you said a word. You said a word there that caught my ears, and that's style.
Yeah, style, P-38. Yeah, style.
So is it
well, actually,
no.
If it's a German model, it's not a P-38, but it's P-38 style. That may be how they're trying to word it because if they're used, somebody. Yeah, hold on here. I'm looking right now. Well, they're not if they're German, they're not P-38s. They're whatever their specification is. In fact, I was looking to see if sometimes if we're lucky, you know how it is, they do real good digital. And I don't see any nomenclature on them. But there are 3 or 4 different shades. There's parkerized. It looks like there's phosphate finish.
Yeah.
And some have a high shine. So take a look at the picture. There is something on,
right.
It's an image.
Right.
And
right.
Again, they're a little different style too. So.
You know what I would surmise from what you've just described there? That those are possibly a military issue because of the different colorations from the different batches over the years.
Right.
All getting conglomerated together. See, when I buy those new Shelby Company P38s or P51s, they come 500 per box.
Right.
In
That's
a little,
what I've been looking for.
cool little, tough little cardboard box, wrapped real good in plastic.
Well, the other that they do have is the military style P38 can openers, 100 pack for $36. So
that's probably going to be a Chinese if they're stating style on there.
Right, as opposed to the one that are German military. So the German military are a hand-me-down. And again, here's the thing: people go, "Well, will they save those?" Hey guys, the U.S. military throws stuff away because we're stupid and we've got more money than brains. Most other armies can't afford to do that. Okay,
not the Germans.
Yeah, the Germans are. Yeah, the Germans. The Bundeswehr has been, let's just say, bargain basement for a long time. They had to make ends meet. So there's a very different attitude about how you build it and what you build. So that's why either way, these are definitely a worthwhile product. Because what I traditionally have done, example, is when we were able to get the U.S. military ones, we do the number 10 dry pack cans. I can still do those. We haven't done any recently in the last few years. But what I did is I taped can opener to every one of the cans, a P38 can opener. So if I throw you a case, you have a can opener not just for the case, but you have a can opener for every can.
Right.
Now, once you got it, I'm not giving you another one. You know what I mean? In other words, congratulations. You remember that can opener? Yeah. What'd you do with it? Already gave you an item I can't replace, right? But the thing is that the way we pack this up is I've been doing what are basically handout packs. A can of rice, a can of flour, a can of wheat, a can of beans, a can of condiments, mixed items, not just ketchup or anything like that, but mixed items for spicing. And then the other can would be whatever we had excess of at the time that we were doing. So if I give you a case, it's like a base staple case that cornmeal, there's an example. That's one for sure we had a lot of. But you do all these are 6 number 10 cans. Each one's different, and each one has a can opener. So it's squared away.
Very good.
And that's why I've been looking for P38 can openers, because what I want to do is with the packages I'm doing now is I want to put a handful of those in each one. And that way, no matter what, I'm not going to scramble even myself. In other words, yep, I got more. Who doesn't have a can opener? Everybody raise your hand. Now, if you have one, don't raise your hand.
Right. Don't open your can.
Here's your one little tiny P38 can opener. It might save your ass a whole lot of time, so how much you keep it this time? Put it around your neck. Put it, tie it to your gear. I don't care what you do, but don't lose it.
Yeah.
By the way, for all of our listeners, they all have a dog tag hole in every one of them. So if you put them on a keychain, you can put them anywhere you want. You can put them on a keychain. You can put them. I'll tell you what, if you can find the small braided nylon like parachute cord, only smaller. It's actually, you find it on pressure suits. I saved every one of those, every mile of that I could get. That's what I use for one of them. It's on the backpack. I use the smaller pressure suit paracord, and it's locked up and in the middle pocket of the Alice Large. On the outside pocket, rolled up, just inside, it's tied to the snot hole on the bottom, the drain hole.
That's microcord.
Yeah. It's still out there. Yeah, it's still out there. And another one that would work just as well, because you're more likely to find it, is fly line. Fishing fly line. That's just as tough. I mean, it's hard to break. And you, again, watch for people chucking it out at a yard sealer. I just got a whole pile of fishing items, and one of the things I got was a little partial roll of that. So that'll work just as well. For these items, you don't need really big. You don't need a big parachute cord. You need something small enough just so you don't lose it.
Paracord's too big. Normal paracord is too large.
Yeah, it's not going to thread through. A real paracord. Now, the fakey, cheapy stuff, you can weak that through there. It'll pull through.
Good. Getting back to what you mentioned on that smaller paracord, that is properly termed micro paracord. Micro.
As a matter of fact, I was looking to see if they do have cordage, but I don't even know what they have right now. But they do have some of the different types. So that's Sportsman's Guide again, too. Go ahead.
I think Bud K might have a little bit, maybe 4 or 5 colors of the micro cheap. Bud K.
Oh, excellent. Yes. Yeah, and that's another one. Bud K has some really odds and ends stuff that everybody, you need to go through and just search once in a while because they even have gas masks. Every once in a while they mark stuff down.
Yeah.
So that's another one to keep an eye on.
Brother, let me give you and everybody a big heads up on Bud K. I've been Bud K wholesale for 13 years. They've got almost nothing now that I'm interested in purchasing. They have just gone tits up.
Well, you know what? I deal with the wholesaler that sells to them, and I can tell you for sure because I can tell you when certain swords and knives that they do purchase, the wholesalers are getting nothing. Right. I said this before about what we're going to face here. In fact, somebody was, I don't know if anybody saw this. This is pertinent. People are lamenting that at Wally World now, certain things like the toy aisle is getting really thin, and they're going right down. Well, guys, we warned you about this. Is the reason they kept everything tied off during the corona beer virus crap is because were they selling everything, you would find out what kind of a depression you're in.
Yep.
Because they're not going to send it if you can't buy it. And they're also, if they want to try and mess with America, they're not going to send it anyway because they want to mess with America. So you got a bunch of different, there's all kinds of economic warfare going on right now, and that's part of what we're facing. So just a little heads up there. But yeah, especially in the knives, there are some really, one of the things I've noticed is, in fact, a lot of you guys have gotten some really cool looking gifts. I've been buying those from the importers that Bud K buys from. There's nobody that has any reasonable quantity of the, and they're not cheap. They're 2-3 times the price now. The safety knives, the one that has the safety belt cord cut. It has the spike for doing the window, and it has a shark tooth blade so you can cut whatever else you need to, including people.
Serrated.
Yeah, it's serrated.
With glass breaker on end.
Yeah, and those have dried up completely. There's not that they aren't out there, but the price that they were and the price that they are is now two different worlds. And in fact, to the point where it's like, it's not that they're unobtaining them, it's just they've gone to 3 and 4 times the cost for the exact same product item. No significant change. No, nothing improved, nothing new. It's just more expensive.
Just like the gloves, just like even the knuckle gloves.
Yeah.
I mean, they know the certain things that they want to try that's really of use to us, like can openers. Okay, like gloves, good gloves with the little knuckles on there. Like our age, man, my skin has got so thin. Hey, I popped somebody one time, my fist opens up. It's a bloody mess.
Oh, yeah. Well, I just pointed out to somebody, because the guys, remember, you're still going to be doing the same things you're doing, but you would need to, it's the old story, a good set of brass, don't do brass knuckles. The cops will use that on you, okay?
Correct.
But a pair of armored gloves, nobody can say anything about, and they sell them commercially. And you know what? Makes a big difference in whether or not you're going to be doing repair work on yourself once you do some beat-down work on who you're facing.
10-4 on that.
That's something that, again, we all need to be thinking about. I pointed this out. Everybody listening. A lot of people are new right now, but you're middle-aged guys, even if you're younger, get the elbow and knee pads. They're a stupid cheap price, and you can find some good ones cheap. And you know what? When you get my age, you won't have all the... as it is, I wore all kinds of armor, okay? But you still got the snot beat out of you, and had I not been wearing certain things, I know I'd be hurting more than I am right now.
And Mark, those that have never seen the eye of the tiger, fortunately or unfortunately, they don't realize how much time they're going to be spending down on their knees.
Right. Well, and again, I had another complaint from a lot of people here last few days saying, trying to find clothes, uniforms. And I said, well, why is it the pants have all dried up? I said, well, it's the same reason we tell people to buy boots, buy pants, and buy socks. The closer it is to the ground, the more abuse it takes. And what happens, if you'll notice, uniforms, you can buy blouses of every type made from every country right now. Take a look try to track the pants down to match.
That's right, because shirts uppers don't have knees, and with pants, one of your main wear areas is going to be knee and buttock area.
In the crotch area. And again, it's that, guys, one step isn't much, but if you're infantry, you're walking all the time everywhere. Guess what? I've worn pants straight through, especially in the thighs, inner thighs, and in the crotch area, and like you said, in the knees. That's why the government double packs the knees, double pads them. There was another question real quick on that. Oh, we're at the top. But real quick, don't bring up the music yet. The built-in knee pad systems, if you do buy them, there are some with the inserts. You go grab spares on those because they're not going to be available, and you'll be cutting your own down the road, but buy them while you can. Remember, this stuff is surplus. That means it's not coming off the factory line. It's coming out of a warehouse box. And at some point, the bathtub empties, and there isn't any more, and then the prices go stupid. So if you have committed to those systems, buy at least 3 or 4 or 5 or a pack or maybe even a box of 10 of those inserts because you will wear them out. They will die. They were built to be that way. They were built to die, to be quite honest. They made them cheap. So be prepared for that. We are at the top, guys. We're going to hear the music because we got to go to break. Before we come back, God bless our republic. Yes, it's the new world order. We shall prevail, ladies and gentlemen. The Empire is on the line. We're in a march. We'll be back in a few minutes. Check out the Intel report coming up. It is Thursday, headed towards the weekend. Pay attention. They don't want you to know anything about what the enemy's up to now. You'll notice they've been trying to shut it up on social media and trying to not let you know how bad things really are. Guess what? We need to stick to the guns. We'll be back.
Good night, Admiral! Plant the seed in our homeland, boys. Let it grow where all can see. Feed it with our devotion, boys. Call it the Liberty Tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. Save it from the storm, boys. Water down its roots with tea. And the sun will always shine on the old Liberty Tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. March along with the piper, boys. We were born forever free. Let's go pay the piper, boys, beneath the Liberty Tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. Pay the price they're asking, boys. Always pay the tyrant's fee. Never give up the struggle, boys. Fight for the Liberty Tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. Stand for the rights of man, boys. Stand against all tyranny. Hang the lance of freedom, boys, high on the Liberty Tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. It will grow as we grow, boys. It will be as strong as we. We must cling to our faith, boys, faith in the Liberty Tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty.
Join Mark and Don for Weapons Wednesday, where you'll learn how to use everything from your bare hands to your average AR-15.
The 12 gauge autoloader.
Sure.
The 45 long slide.
Yep.
With laser sighting.
You betcha.
The Uzi 9mm.
Yes, sir.
Phased plasma rifle in the 40-watt range.
What are you, crazy?
Wrong.
Okay, they'll talk about that too. So whatever question you have about whatever weapon you have, call Mark and Don on Weapons Wednesday. And remember, your mind is your first best weapon.
Now you can feel that squeaky clean sensation like none other with Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash. Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash is a unique natural formula not found in any other oral care products. With a gentle combination of zinc, folic acid, myrrh, and clove oil, Vitamer effectively whitens teeth, removes plaque, and freshens breath, and it does it naturally without any harmful chemicals. Visit us online at Vitamer.com. That's VITAMYR.com. Or call us today to place your order at 1-888-558-8482. That's 1-888-558-8482. Keep your teeth and gums healthy with Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash. Vitamer, nature's answer to healthy teeth and gums. And remember, it's all completely natural. Available at participating health food stores nationwide.
Liberty's Guardian, Guns and Ammunition, a family-owned business located in the heart of Ohio's hunting country. Let us help you find the right shotgun or rifle for you. Or if you're looking for a pistol or concealed carry, we have a nice selection of compact and subcompact pistols for that too. Check out our website at www.libertiesguardian.com. That website again is www.libertiesguardian.com. Go to the website and check out our selection today.
I had a dream the other night that, well, I didn't understand. A figure walked in through the mist with a flintlock in his hand. His clothes were torn and dirty as he stood there by my bed. He took off his three-cornered hat, and speaking low to me, he said, "We fought a revolution to secure our liberty. We wrote the Constitution as a shield from tyranny. For future generations, this legacy we gave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. The freedoms we secured for you, we hoped you'd always keep. But tyrants labored endlessly while your parents were asleep. Your freedom's gone, your courage lost. You're no more than a slave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. You buy permits to travel and permits to own a gun, permits to start a business or to build a place for one. On land that you believe you own, you pay a yearly rent, although you have no voice in saying how the money's spent. Your children must attend a school that doesn't educate, and your Christian values can't be taught according to the state. You read about the current news in a regulated press, and you pay a tax you do not owe to please the IRS. Your money is no longer made of silver nor of gold. You trade your wealth for paper so your life can be controlled. You pay for crimes that make our nation turn from God and shame. You've taken Satan's number. You've traded in your name. You've given government control to those who do you harm so they could burn down churches and seize the family farm and keep our country deep in debt, put men of God in jail, harass your fellow countrymen while corrupted courts prevail. Your public servants don't uphold the solemn oaths they've sworn, and your daughters visit doctors so their children won't be born. Your leaders send artillery and guns to foreign shores and send your sons to slaughter fighting other people's wars. Can you regain the freedoms for which we fought and died? Or don't you have the courage or the faith to stand with pride? And are there no more values for which you'll fight to save? Or do you wish your children to live in fear and be a slave? O sons of the Republic, arise, take a stand, defend the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. Preserve our great republic and each God-given right. And pray to God to keep the torch of freedom burning bright. As I awoke, he'd vanished in the mist from whence he came. His words were true. We are not free, but we have ourselves to blame. For even now as tyrants trample each God-given right, we only watch and tremble, too afraid to stand and fight. If he stood by your bedside in a dream while you were asleep and wondered what remains of the freedoms he'd fought to keep, what would be your answer if he called out from the grave? Is this still the land of the free and home of the brave? God bless you, and God bless this
And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the second hour of the afternoon intelligence report. I'm Mark Kornke. One day closer to victory for all of our brothers and sisters, both on and behind the lines in occupied territories, southwest, east, northeast, and central. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to us on Libertytreeradio.4mg.com, AM and FM micro stations, CB base stations, and Ultra Net, Hallmark, and Golden Spike technologies east and west of the Mississippi, along with Alaska. Good afternoon to all of our friends out there in Lower 49, which includes the great state of Jefferson and CONUS, along with the outlying two states, the territories, and the clock. And for everybody, again, it is a beautiful Thursday outside. It has been a perfect day. We're not too hot, not too cold. The June berries are in season. I didn't mention that. The June berries have ripened. Oh, my goodness. Oh. More on that in perhaps a minute. It is the 25th of June. It is the 12th year of open Fabian Socialist and Soviet Socialist occupation of America with a K. 2020 Old Earth calendar, 2020 year of conflict, year of war, the Dance of Swords. Anyway, couple things real quick. Utility. We were talking about different items that should be on the shelf. If you're just going to have a little stash somewhere and you got a little, like, even just just a shed, basic things you need to put in place. Fasteners of some kind, a mixed can of, it doesn't matter what it is, odds and ends screws, odds and ends nails, needless to say, something to drive them with and something both to screw things in with and also to drive things home with a simple hammer. There's nothing simple about all the tools we're picking, but we try to pick things that give us more tools for the same price, for the same weight and space, basically. One of the things I highly recommend, in fact, the two items that'll get you into most places, a good set of channel locks, real channel locks. Two of them would be best. With two of them, I can get through any door, and if not, the screwdriver makes the difference. But a four-way screwdriver, preferably with the two size shafts / shanks, one smaller on one end with a smaller Phillips and a smaller straight blade, and the other end is a larger format, and everybody always wonders why they do that. Well, when they originally made four-way screwdrivers, when you pull out that head that has the two different size, bits on it, the fixture that goes into, the hex, is a nut driver. And the two nuts, the two sizes that they chose are the two most common size hex head screws, pan head type, sheet metal, or any kind of double fastener, nut bolt. Those two sizes are the most common in smaller, covers, machinery, sheet metal stamping fixtures. Between the four different size bits that you have with the two different heads and the two different dimensions for the nut driver, you're covering a wide spectrum of what you'd probably run into in the way of things that need to be disassembled. So I highly recommend the four-way screwdriver as one of those tools that needs to be a priority in every vehicle you've got, and also as if you were going to carry a couple of tools, if you're going to carry heavier grade, full-size tools. Four-way screwdriver, even if it's a cheaper, lesser expensive brand, it'll do what you need to do for 99% of what's going on. Everybody's got a version of it. If you go over to Menards, you go to Lowe's, you go to Home Depot / Home Depot, wherever you go. I don't know, maybe in Wally World might even have the same thing. I haven't bothered to look to see much about their tools, but they do have looked at the garden supply.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah,
how about a real original Leatherman or a quality copy like a Craftsman version? Those Leatherman style tools are almost invaluable at times.
Right, and again, that's the next tier of tools. In terms of utility tool, something that should always be on your person is a Leatherman type tool. There are so many variations, they're too numerous to count. Every pocket knife company that's worth its salt makes a version or makes multiple versions. All of the tool companies, Klein has their line, Craftsman has their line. So each one is making variations. The electric tool companies have multi-tools, and they're oriented towards the different trades too, which is important. Not all of them are perfect, but they are useful because they don't do anything fast, but they will do everything. In other words, yeah, it's going to take you more effort to use the tool, but the tool's there, okay? Whereas otherwise, if you just had to get 1 or 2 or 3 nuts or screws or something loose, or you had to work something, to be able to pry the rest of it out of the way, this will get, what you need done. Now, if everybody's carrying one, well, 2 or 3 people on the same task, it goes a lot faster. Now, immediately some smartass is going to, well, I'm going to drill for that. Yeah, right. Well, not everybody's going to be carrying an electric battery-powered drill. I love them, too. Got one sitting right here in my elbow right now, just thinking about that. But that ain't going to be the case. And again, we're looking at something you can also cache in a stash, and it can sit there, and you're not going to worry about it. It works every time. So, again, a 4-way screwdriver. If you're looking for a hammer tool of some kind, I'll tell you what, drywall hammers are fantastic. You've got a hatchet / a chopping blade on one end. You have a hammerhead on the other. Now, there's different types, and in fact, also, you've got a number of different scratchets and other kinds of tools that are out there you can pick and choose from. That's a personal flavor choice there. I really love the drywall hammer as a defense weapon. The pitch, okay, if you ever go look at a drywall hammer, you'll notice it is not a straight cleave blade. It's already pre-tapered for cutting and shearing. Are you familiar with how a drywall hammer is used? Go watch a video on YouTube about the use of drywall hammers, and they will explain to you why they're built the way they are. Well, guess what? They work on people the same way they work on drywall. Really well. So in that respect, they make a great tomahawk. Est-wing or Est-wing knockoffs are out there of different types. I have, let's see, 1, 2. I've got 3 of those. 2 of them are Est-wings. The third one is a knockoff no-name brand or another brand where they basically did an all-forged body. Yeah, they're tough. And no-slip, which is kind of nice when you get blood on things, to have that no-slip, grip, which is kind of handy. The other thing is a folding buck saw of some kind, a folding limb saw of some kind. If you have a utility box and you were to put a handful of tools in, you give me the 2 channel locks and the 4-way, and I can get into any door without taking it off its hinges in the country. In fact, they don't want you to know, but with the 2 pair of channel locks, you don't need to worry about keys. Okay, just a little heads up, especially with mortise locks. Just 2 pairs of channel locks is all you need, and you're in. It takes you longer to for me to tell you you need 2 pairs of channel locks than it would take for me to get through the door. Everybody understand that? That's one of those little trade secrets they don't want you to know about. But I've got keys. I don't have a key for that. Don't worry. We'll get into every room here in this building. Watch. I'll show you. And 1, 2, 3, and there you go. Turn it, and you're in. And by the way, you still have the door handle to work with. Don't have to cut door handle off. Trust me on that one, okay? Little tricks of the trade. Locks are designed for honest people, not for people who know the business or for criminals. Think about that one. So, another thing real quick is, again, that saw works for any number of different things, from medical through to, again, construction. Simple folding hand saw, camp saws, Case makes them, everybody makes them, China Sport makes them, tons of them. So pick one out you like and fits your wallet or matches the brand that you prefer. Whatever it is that floats your boat, there's no argument over that. Pick what it is that works for you. Make sure you've got it in your backpack and don't steal it from your gear. This is another thing I got to emphasize. Whatever you pick up for your combat rig stays on your combat rig. This is the biggest problem with flashlights. That's the most common thing I've seen first. Somebody buys the latest Crypto Zippo, super boo-boo flashlight, but they want to play with it, or they just want to have it around for something else, and so it gets pulled off the gear. Then when they throw everything into the truck real quick, they forgot, they left it on that reloading bench or the workbench or in the other car. whatever's on your combat gear, here's a little trick. Make it obnoxious to take off. This is why we talked about lanyards earlier. Make it obnoxious. Doesn't mean you might not have to disconnect it down the road, but duct tape the sucker. Lanyard, put a lanyard on it and duct tape it so it's not easy to get off. That way it's a safety thing. You'll tell everybody it's a safety thing. In reality, if somebody's in the family middling around in the garage and, oh, that's a cool flashlight, I want to use that one because it just looks cool. Well, the problem is that later on when you need it, somebody else might have borrowed it from you. If it's lanyard in place and it's all person. They don't have to be big butcher knives, and they don't have to be Bowie knives. You need blades. In fact, keep them under 3 inches. Because, you know, the cops are going to screw you. The cops are your enemy in this environment. Cops are not your friends. Cops are not your friends. Cops are not your friends. Cops will be there to try and screw you because they got you by the throat. And the guy who was trying to murder you a minute ago, he'll run down the street cackling, jump up and down, acting like a monkey. And they'll be more than happy to let him go and beat the snot out of you or harass you and give you to the prostituters. So the basic rules we've talked about before, the same is true. No brass knuckles. Do not get any brass knuckles. Do not. Don't. You want brass knuckles? I'll tell you how to do that. Go over to any of the military suppliers and find the standard old Vietnam-era steel carabiners. Now, unless you got a really beefcake hand, my hand is just big enough. It's big. I got big hands, but it's just enough I can get my fingers inside that nice carabiner, which I use for my keys or whatever excuse is. You take that carabiner, you put the bridge part on the outside where your knuckles are. You got something that'll take somebody's teeth right down, bust their cheekbone, crush their eye socket, bust their nose. You mess them up. But you know what? It's a carabiner. You carry a set of brass knuckles. They can use that as an excuse to even go up to and including federal charges. Every state's got something on the books to middle muck with people, so you got to be thinking beyond that. And again, the carabiner, steel Vietnam era, not the aluminum ones, steel. These are steel. They're inconvenient because they're heavy. No, they're very convenient because they're heavy. Okay? Again, with knives, better to have a whole bunch of them where you can reach whatever pocket you're casually acting like you're not paying attention to the person who's trying to sneak up behind you and monkey poke you with a Krypton bike lock. The idea is to move with the blow, if at all possible. If you missed it in time, move with the blow. Don't try to counter by thrusting towards the attack. Move with it, swing around, put that blade right up in his crotch or in his gut. Dig in deep and pull like you're pulling the starter on a mower. Pull in, push it in hard. Get that gut cutter right where it needs to be. Work low from the groin or around that area and pull up like you're starting a lawnmower. And you know what? If you do it right, guts will spill out right there. They're too busy worrying about trying to keep their guts in their gut sack. They're not bothering you. And it doesn't need to be a big blade to do that. It needs to be a blade that will cut that muscle tissue and that fat area and all that open so that everything spills out. This is why I mentioned something that they called a buckler. Bucklers, whenever you look in the Bible, I might point this out. How many of you have read the Old Testament? You might notice that when they talked about the strength of a nation, they go right down this shopping list and you will see the term buckler. Now, that sounds weird, and all it really is, traditionally what they were, is you've seen it, but you probably didn't know. Even on, like in pirate movies, the old pirate images, you'll see this large brass buckle that moves around or stays right in the belly area. What that is a cross-strike defense. And of course, typically it was always in heavy gauge leather, the belt that held it in place. So the buckler is made with the heaviest gauge of usually the side strap leather on a cowhide or whatever kind of animal they're using. Well, it might be people, but not likely. Leather's a lot soft. People leather's kind of soft and not thick enough for what you want, mostly. But But with regard to cowhide, the idea is that buckler, which is like a big book, like a book folded open, it's designed so if somebody tries to do a belly cut and cross over your abdominal area, that the blade is rebuffed and it doesn't slice into your abdominal muscle and into the gut sac. And then, like I said, you're busy trying to hold your intestines in while you're trying to fight. It's so embarrassing. You have an arm that's kind of busy doing something else. See how that works? So again, little blades all over the place right now would be a real good idea. Nothing too fancy, and again, there's all kinds of things you can do. Pen knives, case knives, they're normal pocket knives, but more blades are good. 2 blades are better than 1, and whenever possible, you can't share a knife, okay? So if you got somebody else standing there and they're sucking vapors, maybe they're still chicken as the day is long and they've already defecated their spine out their bunghole, put the knife in their hand. It at least looks like you got 2 people that might fight. Maybe the other person is ashen right now. Smell too good. Maybe the stench alone will be enough to drive your enemy away. Who knows? Who knows? You never know. But again, it's also, if it's an organic sand standing next to you, put a knife in its hand, hey, do something. At the very least, it'll distract him for a minute while you cut somebody else to put one more of your enemy down. It'll buy you time, distraction, and hopefully give you the ability to destroy that much more of what's coming at you. So heads up. And again, more blades are better. Little blades are fine, but more blades are better. Stashed in pockets. You got a purse. Make sure you got a couple little edge weapons in the purse. There's all kinds of different. In fact, don't forget pens. Bic pencils are all weapons. Guys, I've seen more people have maggot holes put in them with a regular clear plastic Bic pen than any other knife I've ever seen used. I've seen more people stabbed repeatedly. I had to do it myself. But that Bic pen, when you put it right to the palm, put it right between where your middle finger is, you punch with that, you can do some real nice damage. And if you're really mean, you notch it. When you punch, you push it sideways, it breaks off, and you got something inside somebody they got to worry about. They're not going to cause too much anger upon you when they're busy worrying about the fact they're feeling something stuck in them. And there's no handle to get it off. You can do that with pencils the same way. So just a little heads up. Everything and anything can be a weapon, but pens and pencils are awfully handy too. And by the way, Bud K does have, we mentioned Bud K, they've got those little pens that look like, actually are working pens with a little short stroke ballpoint pen assembly. You pull it open and it's got a little, cutter blade. That's good. Half the battle is being able to get to it, guys, and being able to either stab, slash, or slit. Then the other half is knowing anatomy. Where would you cut? But if you can get hold of the enemy in any way, if they're at you, if you're going to slice them, what can you do to do the most damage that looks most horrific and psychologically messes with their head? Well, you sever any kind of vein or anything like that, and they got a beep, 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 beep. Well, that kind of motivatively, it distracts them. It motivates. There we go. Minimizes the motivation factor.
Groin, armpit, neck.
Yeah.
In one motion, just like Don taught. Groin, armpit, neck.
Yep, exactly. Well, you know what? I'll tell you, one thing I'll never forget. Like I said, Bic pen right in the side of the guy's throat from the left side, went right through the larynx. Okay, got the artery, tagged the artery somehow, which pens aren't that tough. And you got to remember that's a piece of linguine in your throat there. And, it was buried up to the hilt. It already did a good bleed on the artery, but it still kind of plugged it because it was stuck. And then the other part came through the larynx, came through the Adam's apple. So you figure that cut out. I mean, that was a stab. It was a Bic pen. Okay, of course it wasn't Mongo that was, shoving it. So I think he had plenty of energy behind it. You know what I mean? So heads up, again, remember, guys, look at your enemy. The one thing I've noticed about YouTube and all the rest of these scammers is they're trying to make everything disappear to make you believe that nothing happened, and the situation over the last couple of weeks is a lot more horrific than you can imagine. And I think it won't be 3 weeks. I think it'll be a month or 2 months before some of this stuff even comes out in the wash and you hear about it after the fact. Well, yeah, they did rape those 2 women and burn that house and kill the family, but Oh, I didn't hear anything about that. Yeah, you weren't supposed to, but it's okay. They did give them 6 months probation because they're black, and we have to understand. And they're going to be given therapy for, the trauma of having murdered the 2 women and, raped them and chopped them up and put them in garbage bags. That's very traumatic to the criminal. And so we're going to have to give them therapy and help them along because they just, they're having a tough time because they got caught. They got caught. That's really bad when you get caught and you're a wicked, evil bastard and you do something like that. So you all need to understand them. You just need to understand. Which, of course, you don't, because you normally be like, why didn't you shoot their ass? Well, because some people are kind of slow on the uptake. That's why. So, anyway, a couple of things here real quick. Now I'm going to switch gears again, but not because it's, again, Thursday. A bunch of things we've got to cover. Check your camping gear. Somebody did remind me of this, and I myself, we're going through tents right now. But if you don't have spare stakes or spare items, again, remember all these other tools we're talking about? Remember, you can make additional tent stakes in the field. You can improvise. But, stuff is so cheap right now. And the items are readily available, and they're off the counter, ready to go. So one of the things to remember is, again, minimize to maximize. If it's a penny item, be ready to build it. Of course, you can always, if you've got a nice little wood chop or just a few tools, you can make tent stakes all day. You can make a lot of the other little items you need for, to kind of finish out or create spares in your gear. No matter what, you always drop something. If you have exactly the amount you need, you're going to drop something. In fact, it's proportional that if you actually put some spares in, you will probably lose. If you have 2 spares, you will lose 3. It's just always it seems that way. But let's just assume the worst and we won't be disappointed. Remember, things get broken too, or if people are in a hurry, breaking a camp or whatever because it's, under pressure. Remember, things just get misplaced. This is why tools are a very, very, very important thing in the field. Improvise, adapt, and overcome. You can do this.
Mark.
Go ahead, caller. Jump in there.
Mark, on that note of tent stakes, mucho importante. Without tent stakes, tent don't set up too well. Okay. Now,
exactly.
to my knowledge, right now, the best deal on tent stakes is major surplus. And what I'm talking about here is U.S. military, the aluminum, 9-inch, and they also have the 12-inch. Okay? I think you can get like about a... They sell them in small quantities, but you can also get them, I think, in about 50-count packages. And that's your best deal right there. Like, I prefer the 9-inch aluminum for most tents, for most individual type tents, up to, say, maybe a 4-man tent. They're the aluminum ones. They're angled. They're very, very strong. They're very, very light. You've got 2 different ways that you can connect to the connect end on those. But that's going to be major surplus aluminum U.S. tent stakes in the 9-inch and 12-inch. Over.
Yeah, and one of the things about those, again, those are pretty durable. It's nice to have spares, even if you put them in the, like the truck kit. Another thing, especially the bigger ones, is if you're doing camo nets, guys, it's kind of nice to stake them down. And guess what? Now, some of those come in orange. The 9-inch ones probably are coming in OD green. I haven't looked at the ad, but if they are, usually the bigger ones are more tactified. The orange ones are made orange because no matter how hard they tried, guys, people stumble into them. So they figured, well, even for military wartime production, they made them orange. And, of course, a lot of times guys go get a grinder and shank them up on one side, and everything can be made into a weapon if you're in a brawl. And so a lot of guys used to keep those on hand as like that extra blade weapon you stick in someone's head that stays right where it's put.
Yeah, and the on that 9-inch or 12-inch, on the angle, the 90-degree angle, it tapers down to the point. Oh, wow. Okay. Lost my train of thought there for a moment. What you can do is they're aluminum, and if they're orange, yeah, that's kind of bright. It don't take nothing to get a little piece of sandpaper, knock any little edges off of that or little burrs, and then just get some alcohol or something like that and wipe those babies down. They'll paint. They'll paint right up. Over?
Yeah, and remember, Krylon is your friend. Plus, you can also match the color to your environment, or pattern them out, whatever color pattern, whatever combination of colors makes more sense for your area of operation. That's what you switch them out to. Again, another thing on that note is you can also like double tape. Remember, tape is your friend. Now, paper tape is nice, but paper tape always becomes obnoxious when it gets old. Duct tape's no different. Paper tape is still a lot more forgiving, just regular what we call masking tape. But keeping just a little bit of that around around an object keeps things from like just kind of dispersing all on their own. And storing those in different points or having them locked in so that you've got something like that makes all the difference between convenience and time you burn up in the field actually having to build when you had it in hand. So, again, spares, Major Surplus. By the way, they also have some other deals. They do have some other backpack deals they've had for a little bit, but it looks like they came down on a few things. So, guys, you might want to go search through. Thank you for bringing it up. The Major Surplus. Go through and see what they have right now in the deals section, because they also did send out some flyers here just a little bit ago with some of the other, I think it's the 25, 30-liter backpacks. Then they've got the 70-liter, and they're about $50 or less. The smaller ones are obviously going to be less. But these are actually a pretty decent pad system. Problem is the colors, but there's a couple ways you can deal with that. You can use the spray paint we just mentioned, or buy yourself one of those $1.25 to $5 military Alice Pack backpack covers. You put it right on any of these, and we won't know the difference at any kind of distance. That subdues them real quick without a whole lot of special tech. And
hey, Mark,
user-friendly.
Go
ahead.
Major Surplus, I'm like 99% sure it's Major. They, about a week and a half ago, started showing some Alice packs being available. Okay? Now, they're supposed U.S. Alice packs, okay? I can't remember if it's the medium or the large Alice pack, but they have a different aftermarket European frame. And I think one of those companies like Miltech or something like that, okay, is making the frame for the Alice pack with kidney, pad, buckle, and straps. Over?
Yeah, in fact, on the west side, probably should have mentioned this before, but I think I did a few weeks ago. Iron Planet. There was a flurry of Alice packs that came through, not with frames, so that makes sense that anybody else in the industry that's making a knockoff frame is probably where they went to get the rest of what they wanted for the kit. But those should be regular, or probably a regular U.S. military Alice pack. They had mediums, several hundred to a lot. And they come out in little bursts like this, and it's reflected in the surplus market, which is what we're seeing right now. So they're good packs. I don't have a problem with the Alice pack whatsoever. It was the go-to pack for, again, reasonably priced, lightweight, lots of them, all consistent. At this point in time, the Molly gear has been kind of eclectic and hiccupish. There's a bunch of their combat packs that have come out, but the Marine Corps has another one in Coyote Brown, which, by the way, of course, they bought something that doesn't match anybody else's junk. So you got to beware there, and remember that some of the equipment will not integrate easily. So if you're doing the Molly American Army / or Air Force gear, pretty much that's the same system. If you are looking at the Marine and it's this new Coyote Brown, you want to match up all the components for that, for the backpacks. But they are good packs, and they are basically, well, again, there's only so many Alice packs left in the system, and then they're gone. And that's where we are, because it is the year 2020. I mean, come on, the Alice gear started showing up at the middle end of Vietnam. And it's been a long time, guys. We've got our money's worth out of it. We're still using them, but they're not going to be there forever. So when you see them, if they're a decent condition and that's what you prefer, if you're with the unit and that's the standard, you guys should pick them up while you can. Just, again, because you're going to eventually have to be satisfied with something else. Another thing that has happened, I've noticed, is the Flecktarn, the West German gear. Of course, we already knew this was happening. A lot of that has dried up. I've had a lot of questions about where can I get more of the Flecktarn fill in the blank, and it's like, well, catch as catch can. Major Surplus has some. I know Coleman's.com has some. And you're going to find it, in odd places here and there, and, hiccup like little pieces or little pools of this and little pieces of that. But in the backpacks, you can find the whole system typically together. You just need to track down and figure out who's got what. And the good equipment, I don't have any problem carrying any of it. We got tons of it in the inventory. As a matter of fact, what was the other one I was going to mention? Actually, Major Surplus. They did mention their packs. Go to see what they have in their markdown right now. Right now I won't do it on the air, but I'll do it probably during the hour break, see if it's still the same for this week. And in addition to that, also Swiss Surplus. I haven't mentioned them in a while. Swiss got burned out with the fires out west there that were on the California/Oregon side. Remember last year and the year before. They've rebuilt everything. They've put everything, they've got stuff back in stock, so you might want to keep an eye on them. Swiss Surplus. They have a retail, they have a wholesale end, and they do have some pretty good buys on things, but especially if you're listening and you're on the west side of the Rockies, say on the Pacific side of the country, the big thing is saving on shipping, and they have a lot of items that are unique that nobody else has. It's because they are an importer, and they do buy from certain companies, and other people just don't deal with them. Their purchasing agent literally is in Switzerland. Okay, that's why they call it Swiss Surplus. But the stuff that they have is interesting. Every once in a while, they have unique things. For you guys that are desert operations, you might recall back when we were supplying certain units about the time of the Bundy Ranch. A lot of the stuff came from Swiss pallet bins full of equipment. It was a mix, and what we did is I made a package deal. So what we did is we bought them and had them drop shipped right to where the troops were. So for you guys, if you remember, a lot of desert gear, a lot of multicam, mixing web gear and stuff, that's where that all came from. And most of these companies do have what basically are toss-out bins. So if you're lucky, you might run into them once in a while. Now, it used to be they were relatively cheap. More recently, not so much. One of the reasons, to be quite honest, pants. Any kind of pants, no matter what. They got buttons or zippers missing, doesn't make any difference, even though those would be like seconds, like B's or C's. Guys, if it's got pants in it, they're jacking the price because they're just not out there. So otherwise, again, this is why, again, like you go to a yard sale and somebody's got a bunch of OD green pants, grab them. If they got camo of any kind, grab it. I don't care what it is, if it's cheap anyway. If it's stupid price, no. But if it's cheap or like giveaway price, grab it and put it on the shelf. We're never going to have enough. We're always going to be short. For the moment, it's a fun time because we're still in a deal market, regular industrial market. But it's like I said in the other hour, it's like peanut butter. Peanut butter's going to disappear real quick. And everybody's going to be like remembering peanut butter. And peanut butter eventually will be like one of those things like chocolate, where it's like, man, if I could get hold of a tub of peanut butter, I'd really be happy. Well, how much do you want to pay? Now, don't be surprised when that happens. Already told you in advance, you aren't going to get caught flat-footed. You like peanut butter, I'd probably put some on the shelf. And keep using it and rotating it, too. Rotate your inventory on stuff like that. But this is also true with a lot of the other more unique items that when the time comes, guys, boots and shoes, boots and shoes, boots and shoes. And don't say you didn't get worn by somebody. I would point out in a wartime situation, let me give you a little pointer here about how you can judge when a picture was taken on the battlefield. You know how you can tell if it's fresh? The bodies still have their boots on. I'll challenge you. You go look at a bunch of pictures from World War II or World War I. You go look at pictures of the street fighting in Europe. You might notice something if you've been paying attention. Two things. Is there a dead horse in the street? Well, I can tell you whether or not that dead horse is fresh. You want to know how? No, not because it'd be stinking. That ain't going to happen. You can tell because there aren't any flanks cut off it, and they haven't started, cutting legs or parts off the side of the horse. And if you look right next to it, there's 2 American or Brit or German infantry dead. Are their boots still on? Yeah, that just happened. Now you look at another picture from where they're moving through the area. You'll notice the boots are gone, the guns are missing. Of course they are, because either side's going to make sure those don't hang around. But the boots are gone, headgear's gone, the horse has got chunks cut out of it. By the time they're done, that horse will move off the street all on its own. Ain't nobody going to waste it. That's all getting cooked within the next 2 to 3 days. Any dead animal, no matter what it is. Hopefully they didn't do that with the troops too, but who knows what's going on. Russia was, well, they were kind of thin. So just a heads up on that. That's how you can judge the age of the activity, person moving through an area that had that camera in hand. So for that reason, again, footwear and socks. Now, another thing real quick before I forget, I'm going to go back to the Sportsman's Guide. They have Dutch cotton socks for less than $1 a pair right now, and they do have big sizes. If you go through the Sportsman's Guide, go over into their deal/clearance. They have a really great bulk deal on Dutch boot socks right now. I just bought 40 pairs of them, so I should know. And as it is, if you can afford more, buy more. You'll never have enough socks, and you should always have. By the way, those are also your emergency mittens. Just keep that in mind, just in case. Go ahead, caller, jump in there.
Hey, over at Botash, this is Brent out of Boulder City. When I was telling you about the boots, I also wanted to tell you about the rappelling gloves from 5.11.
Oh,
they have.
Right.
I just sent the Earl over to you, and only a few minutes ago. They're $5.95 a pair.
Yeah, I was going to mention. Thank you. You did pick up a pair?
They only have extra large and double extra large left. They have like 249 pair of extra large, 150 some pair of the double X.
And again, those are repelling gloves. I'm going to try and pull them up. There we go. I saw that. Thank you for reminding me, because there's so many things we've been scanning over, and we were going through that. We caught them in another location. These are 5.11 tactical 59 338 Fast Tac 2 repelling gloves. Now, guys, $5.98 a pair. That's a giveaway price. That really is. That's a giveaway price. And again, here's what's strange about this is the big sizes are still there. Seriously, guys, the big sizes and everything usually are gone first. And it's just like you said, on the extra large, you got 249. And if you got really big paws, they got 156 pair of the 2X, which you never see. I actually hardly ever see 2X. But they have them in inventory. And for what they are price-wise, here's the thing about this. Somebody goes, well, I'm not going to repel. Are you going to handle chains? Guys, you ever think about that? How many times, this is for what they are. Remember, repelling gloves, they're reinforced. Go take a look at the picture. If you handle chains, if you're going to be in recovery with mechanized, if you're going to be in the field handling and having to do recovery cables, recovery chains, you're trying to tow or pull something out, when you got to handle it, you see these repelling gloves? They're built for that. I've been looking for barbed wire handling gloves for a while, or I should say gauntlets. I used to have hundreds of them, thousands of them. I've been dispersing them. This is what I would pick up second. If I could get the barbed wire gloves, I'd grab a pair of those anyway and put them in the kit, because those are designed to literally handle razor wire. Now, this isn't quite the same thing, but these are especially great for any of you guys who are going to be handling any of the equipment that's going to be used for any kind of industrial machinery, cabling, chaining, where you got to pull, you're going to use chain to pull, and it's got all the reinforcing in the right places, making that a priceless pair of gloves. Less likely to find tears or shreds in your palm or something that gacks into the side of your fingers. Take a look at how the fingers are covered on the inside of the grip. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. By the way, they were suggested retail was $65. Basically, I'm sure they only been selling for about $30 or $40 a pair, and only? Yeah, I know, only. So this is a steal, and in fact, I have to order some of these tonight, and I'm going the extra large, and I've got to put them over in the add the cart because I forgot them. And now you can slap me in the microphone, caller, and I want to say thank you because I had plans on these, and I screwed up. When I checked them a day ago, they had the other sizes, by the way. I'm sorry, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I got like 21 pairs several months ago, and I've been kind of bird dogging it, and they've hardly been moving.
Well, it's something that not everybody thinks about. And they wouldn't think about the way I just recommended it. They'd be thinking, rappelling, well, I ain't going to do no rappelling. I ain't going to hang from no rope. Well, maybe not all the time, but these are awful handy to have. And by the way, yes, I do carry rappelling rigs with every piece of equipment we've got, all our machinery. And all the kids have been taught to, and all of our people have been taught to rappel. We've done that for decades. So it's just normally I wouldn't be seeing this kind of price on. And again, I will point out, guys, if they put these back on the shelf, they are not going to be $5.98. Everybody understand that? They're not going to be $5.98 a pair. Somebody's asking, could you go a bigger pair with a smaller hand? Well, sure, why not? The other trick to that, take a pair of jersey gloves and put them on the inside, and stick that inside, kind of like what you do with a pair of sweat gloves, so you don't mess up the inside of the better mittens or equipment. Then you pull out the jersey glove and chuck it when it's messed up or sweaty or whatever, and go to another pair. Makes it easier to get the gloves on and off, by the way. So a little trick there, kind of like on your chem gloves where you have the white dress, looks like a dress glove. It's actually just an insert glove so that when you're sweaty and you're trying to decontaminate, you can get the rubber gloves off. Everybody understands that's how the system's supposed to work, right? Probably not. Well, I just gave you another trade secret that everybody should know, okay? So this is a good price. Thank you. And I'd actually go through all of their markdowns. I just threw that in the shopping cart. I got to make sure I put another pair in there too. And if anybody sees anything else, call it out on the air if there's something that's a great price right now. I do have to mention something else. We're almost to the top here real quick. Over at gunpartscorp.com, gunpartscorp.com, www.gunpartscorp.com, over in the clearance section. If any of you have any Llama semi-automatic pistols in the large stack capacity, go over there and look. They may not have much left, but they $12.95 for the Mark II, it's Mark II. Mark II Llama, staggered 9mm, $12.95 a mag. Those mags are not $12.95 anywhere. In fact, those mags are like chicken teeth right now. But if you have one of the guns, if I had one of the guns, I would take $100, buy $100 worth of those mags. For $12.95, these are actual factory Llama mags. They were police issue from some department overseas, God knows where. But it's one of those odd man out things where if you have the gun, you're not going to get them anymore. There aren't any more. So if you have the gun, go grab $100 worth of those mags. Now you have a combat mag package. Buy 12 or 10 or whatever you can afford, but get as many as you can afford for the moment because you're not going to see them for $12.95. Another thing for all of you Ruger shooters. This is over in the clearance deal section for gunpartscorp.com. There are a series of Ruger mags, too numerous for you to mention on the air. All of them between $14 and under $20 a piece. And these are Ruger high capacity mags. So if you have the P89 or the P90, 295, whatever, just go right through all of them. You're going to have to go through. You look, see what's there. It's the best price for Ruger mags in the country. And if you guys are committed to a bunch of Rugers and you have them, again, I'd take $100 and buy $100 worth of these mags. Seriously. You're not going to find a better price for Ruger mags, for the models that they have available. They're putting some pretty decent little buys up there. They don't last. When they're gone, they're gone. Remember, this is a old parts company. This is not a new store. So whatever they offer, when you see it, when it's gone, don't think they'll restock that. No, they won't. They buy inventories from other places or deals that other people want to make, and that's what they get. And they've got them in their inventory for their parts company. But when they want to clear the shelf off, there's a reason, and so obviously they're making space, or they just want to rotate to get some more cash. These are one-time deals, and when they're gone, they're gone. Okay, so just a heads up on that. Go look at it. Go over to gunpartscorp.com. And if you have Rugers, especially, and you're a Ruger shooter, I had a couple people I mentioned this to last night, and they jumped over there, and I know they grabbed a bunch. If you have the Marlin Camp carbine, there's a couple of the Marlin/Ruger overlap mags that are there. They're specifically tagged as Marlin mags. If you have the Marlin Camp carbine in 9mm, there are a couple of mags there. You can't beat the price, and they're the larger capacity magazines. Again, they're staggered mags. So, and the Marlin carbine is camp carbine. Don't even think about selling those. Those are some of the finest little light carbines that were made in the last 30, 40 years. They just don't get any write-up. But they were very simple. Basically, they're a counterpart to the Ruger 44 carbines that were out there. I love the 45 ACP carbine that Marlin made to use the standard 1911 magazines. You can put a hush puppy on that thing so easy it's ridiculous, and all of a sudden it makes for a hell of a center removal gun without any special work. Okay, very, 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 very easy. Which is why you don't see much of any of them laying around. For anybody who is in the know, those guns are out there waiting for the business that's coming up on us, because they know exactly what they're going to be doing. Toop, 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 toop. Much quieter, much handier, and lots of thud power when it hits. So, anyway, other stuff. Go over to gunpartscorp.com. If you've got a semi-automatic pistol, you want to go look on their deals/clearances. They've only got one section, easy to find, over on the right side, up on the top there, and go through it page by page. It's really eclectic. There is no knowing what's going to be on one page to the next, and it changes. So just a heads up there. Also, again, with what we've been seeing, they're not trying to cover or discuss anything about what's been going on with the disaster and shipwreck that is Atlanta, and the shipwreck that is, oh, by the way, Minneapolis. So, and of course, oh, wait a minute, let's not forget Seattle. And, oh, by the way, they destroyed a bunch of statues that were all Union statues of abolitionists in Wisconsin. Did anybody see the twit work done there by the idiot stick communists? Well, that's the kind of stupid. Well, it's intentional. They know what they're doing. These are criminals. They are communists. They are waging war against you. Not a surprise. But it's the kind of stupid that don't give them any ride on. If they do know what they're doing. This is a destruction attack on the heritage of the country. Piss on them all. Let's get rid of them. Going to war? Let's go to war for a reason. We got some good ones. By the way, we're not going to be able to live with them anyway, so we're going to be in conflict. And if government gets in the way, the turds in government better get out of the way. I know they're going to side with Antifa. They're going to side with the kill all the white people crowd. That's what they're already showing that right now. They're demonstrating it. So expect them to be nothing but minions for the rest of the ring knockers outside who are being told to destroy the country.
Hey, Mark.
Go ahead, caller. Jump in there. We got a few minutes.
This is David from Virginia, and I'm renting a room from an elderly German lady in her 70s, and she said yesterday she got stopped by a checkpoint, and they had 18 police. She stopped and counted them while she was waiting in line. 18 police cars, and there was one she said was hiding back behind it when someone tried to back up and avoid the checkpoint, that they pull them over.
What were they doing? What was the purpose behind the checkpoint?
She asked, because she was shocked, being from Germany, where where's your papers, type thing. Well, and actually I have it down here somewhere. I actually have the address. It's in Newport News, Virginia. I don't know if anybody's it was between Jefferson and Warnick Boulevard in Newport News, just in case anybody wants to know. But they were just checking for licenses, making sure everybody had a license.
Well,
and her daughter, who also stays here, mentioned that they were probably trying to generate revenue because they knew that the DMV has been down for about 3 months now.
Right, it's the same situation here in Michigan. They can't really give any tickets because, in fact, even now they would still be pressed, to have to throw stuff out because you still have to get an appointment to go to the Secretary of State's office. You can't just go to the Secretary of State's office now. And they can arbitrarily
tickets if you didn't have your license up.
Well, you see, that's just it. It's like, again, this is that creative revenuing scam where on the one hand you can't renew it, and nobody was really even bothering with it, but now you see plugging government back in or plugging the system back in means the government plugging into your wallet. That's what this means.
Exactly.
That's what it's about. Well, tell you what we got to do, though. We got
a violation of the
Whoa, you're breaking up.
I like guns.
We got to take off. God bless the Republic.
Yes, Lord.
There we go. We shall prevail, ladies and gentlemen. The Empire's on the run. Well, thank you for the update. Again, for everybody out there, guys, pay attention. If you're going to move in units, remember, have a picket vehicle moving forward to observe. And their actually flank vehicles should be in motion also. A little trick of the trade. We're going to go take off for now. We got a bunch of work still to do, and in an hour we will be back with the evening intel report. But Ed, take it over. I believe Liberty Bible Hour will be next, and it is Thursday on LTR. God bless. Bye-bye.
I like guns. I don't really get all the fuss. Why they're trying to take the guns off of us. 'Cause I ain't gonna shoot anyone. And no one shoots at me. 'Cause I got a gun. I like guns, I like the way they look. I like the shiny steel and the polished wood. I don't care if they're big or small. They're for sale, hell, I want them all. I like guns, I like guns, I like guns. God made the animals, God made the trees. God made you, hell, he even made me. He gave me this voice so I could be a singer. So you tell me why I've got a trigger finger. I like guns, I like the way they look. I like the shiny steel and the polished wood. I don't care if they're big or small. They're for sale, hell, I want them all. I like guns, I like guns, I like guns. I like guns, I like guns, I like guns.
This session is no longer being recorded.